Hello everyone. Today we are going to be looking at the final phase of the bill of quantity, and we are going to see how you as a contractor or you as a client can best choose which bill of quantity. So you as a contractor will see how you can manipulate the bill of quantity to make sure you get the job. Also you as a client, you can actually know which bill of quantity is best for your job. So let's get into it. Okay, today we are going to be looking at the final phase of what a bill of quantity is, and today we're going to look at how you as a contractor you get to really determine the best means of going about a bill of quantity. That means as a contractor or a builder or as a technician that is executing the job, and also how you as a client you can also know the best bill of quantity to pick. Okay, so let's say after going through the bill of quantity, we already covered about bill of quantity. So please, if you haven't understood what a bill of quantity is, you can check our previous tutorial on bill of quantities. So let's say after going through the bill of quantities now, contractor A or technician A has given his own sum of money X, B, Y, and C, Z. Okay, so now when all these contractors have submitted their bill of quantities, now it is now left for the client now to study them and make sure that he awards the contract or the project to whoever is really uh, best here. Now, there are a lot of ways of which that happens. Let's say you're dealing with a private project and not a government project. Okay, if it's a private project, and let's say the contractor, the client rather, knows this first contractor, maybe he's familiar with him, maybe he was recommended by someone, but he doesn't really know anything about BC. Okay, so even if contractor A or this technician A, even if his bill is a little bit higher or higher than B and C, there's a probability of A having the contract. Why? Because of that relationship. Okay, yes, and well, of course, sometimes the clients also go to for the lowest bidder. We are going to see it in detail with that when we're looking at an example. Now, if it's a government project, well, that is instead different. Suppose A and C, let's say A, the price of B is lower than A and C, then the government is normally going to award the contract to B because the government always goes for the lowest bidder as far as projects are concerned. Okay, so unlike a private project, which a client can decide to award the project to whoever he is familiar with, or maybe go for a lower the lowest bidder. So it depends. The government always goes for the lowest bidder. So you as a contractor, you have to know now how you can manipulate your estimate in such a way that you always fall below the bid rate of the others if you are going in for a government project, or as if you are going in for a private project, we're also going to show you the things which you can use to make sure that your estimate is always accepted. So looking at the practical example that we're looking at for this job in Yaoundé, um, so say this was the bill of quantity that was the bill that was submitted, which you have to submit your bill of quantity. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is if you have to look at the quantity of work here. Okay, the first thing that tells you the nature of a job, whether it's a private contract or a government project contract, is the quantity of work. And what really gives you money, because as a contractor or as someone who does projects, you always have to focus on making profit. Okay, I don't think there will be any reason for you getting yourself in a project if you don't want to make profit. So how do you know factors that help you to make profit? What really helps you to make profit is this, when it has to do with what? The concreting. Okay, reinforced concrete. This is one of the things that has to do with a lot of profit. So you look at these quantities here. If the quantities are high, then you know that that project you can have a lot of profit from there. Okay, now after doing that, um you know that in this project there are a lot of competitors involved. Okay, you are going to have, like, at the end of the day, the client will receive like 5 different estimates. So how do you do for your own estimate to be accepted among all those five? Now the first thing is, a lot of technicians or a lot of contractors, they go in and they modify the unit prices. Okay, because of course each country, wherever you find yourself, you have standard unit prices which you work with. But of course, as a company or an individual, you always make sure that you try to modify the unit prices. But doing something that you doing it in such a way that you are not still going to be at a loss. Okay, there are situations where people abuse this and then they do it in such a way that it is too low. At the end of the day, they are forced to do very bad work, like the kind of jobs that we see around us here. You see there are a lot of road projects, there are a lot of projects that keeps collapsing every day all around us, and that is because they didn't estimate the job well, and then they are forced to do the job, and they don't have any other alternative but to do a bad job. So those are the kind of things that are not okay. So when you want to do your bill of quantity, you have to be very careful and you make sure that you do it very well in such a way that at the end of the day, you still do a good job, but then of course you still do make yourself some profit. So how do you make your own estimate to stand out? So let's say this is we have 150 francs here for this site clearance, okay, which might be the standard price. So contractor A might have this, B might decide to put this at 140. Now you see the price has dropped, okay, and you can't change the quantity because this is provided for you. You can only work with the price, okay. Now somebody might come in here. Let's say this was for a road project, okay. If this was for, like, say, a road project, and then if contractor A was rating this at the price of 150, B did his for 140, someone can come in here and decide to put this at 80. Okay, if you put this at 80, you see there is a very big difference. There is a very big difference in here. Okay, how is that difference coming about? Because you have dropped down the price very low. And well, if it was a government project looking at this person will be awarded this contract. But the question is, are you sure you can actually use this money to execute the project and also to execute it to the best of the ability to give it the right quality that is involved? That is the question now. Okay, and then now coming down here, that is just one way that you can use to stand out. So you can modify the unit prices. When you modify your unit prices, you make sure that yeah, that is going to, of course, affect the total cost, because all clients are always focused on the total cost. Okay, they don't even have to be looking at all this. They're always focused on the total cost, but you are the one that knows the detail. You are the one that knows that, okay, I can do this, and at the end of the day, I still modify my unit. I still have a gain out of this. Excuse me. So now let's go down to, say, the foundation works. Now this is the reinforced. Now let's the masonry works here, where you have this. Okay, look at this. This is where, like I said, a contractor makes a lot of money, or a technician, or whoever is handling project. Now if I was to come here and I put my unit price here to, say, 150,000, which is the normal price. Now you see this is 1.8. now look at this. There they've given you the nominal mix, and they specify the ratio. So they are saying you have to use 1 part of cement to 3 parts of sand to 6 parts of what? Gravel. As you can see here, this mixture here at the end of the day should give you a mixture with resistance of M10. Okay, that is going to be the strength. Well, that's most of our engineers to understand. So someone coming in here can decide to put let's say maybe 140,000, as you can see here. Now don't forget, this is for reinforced concrete. Okay, as we are putting here, well, this is just for the nominal mix. But if it was for reinforced concrete, like as we are looking here at this level, this is going to include the price of this 150,000 is going to include the price of the rods, the sand, the gravel, the cement, water, and labor. Okay, so if you are sure that 1 meter cube of reinforced concrete, you can execute it at 150,000. What does that mean? You can evaluate. Okay, what is a bag of cement? How many bags of cement will go in a meter cube? How much formwork will you use to be in a meter cube? How much sand will you use here? How much gravel will you use here? If you sum that all and it is around this range, including the labor, then you know that you are good. Someone will just come here and put a price of, let's say, maybe 80,000 francs. 80,000, like you see here. And if it's a government project, they are going to award him the project automatically. Okay, but the question now is, are you sure you can use this 80,000 to execute a meter cube? That's the question. Come here to the nominal mix. Now This is 1 part of sand, of cement, 3 parts of sand, 6 parts of what? Gravel. Okay. Now, someone will just come in here, instead of putting this amount, he can say, okay, I put 50,000. Okay. Now, this is 50,000. There are a lot of things which you have to note here. Now, this mixture is to give you a resistance of N10. That is the resistance of the mixture that you have to have here. Okay. Now, if you want to achieve this, you have to make sure that you follow this mixture. Okay. If you don't follow this mixture, you can't achieve the strength of the mix which is required. Now, that strength comes in a lot of ways. You do know that out there you have different brands of cement. Okay. You have 42.5, that is the resistance of, so you have 32.5, that is the resistance of the cement. But for you to achieve this strength, you have to make sure that you use the right quality of cement. You have to make sure that you use the right quality of sand. Like, of course, you know, normally we have different qualities of sand. You have like maybe the sand agar, you have maybe all types of sand that you use. And with all those qualities of sand, you have the ones that are also very good and they bind very well, giving you a very good strength for mixture. But the client doesn't know this. The contractor knows these things. Okay, so are you sure that this 50,000 is able, you'll be able to use it to do this? A lot of contractors, a lot of them, they are criminals in the sense that they just go in here, they forge these prices. They know fully well that they can't use this money to execute this, and when they give them the job now, they start using faulty materials and faulty materials in order to do this. Like, for instance, they can come here, instead of using they can come to the reinforced concrete like up here, instead of using a good rods like imports, like say maybe F500, they use maybe normal rods which is not even import, and they are still going to be using maybe a diameter 12, but which is not the diameter 12 of F500 which is imported. You, the client, you come there, you see that that is diameter 12, but you don't know the difference. But the strength of that diameter is not really good. You know, that is just an example. So they forge all these prices. They make you to look to think that the job is good. What then the contract at the end of the day, they end up doing a bad job. Why? Because they don't follow the norms. Okay. So as a contractor and as a client, you have to be very careful and you make sure that you understand these things. Don't hurriedly award a contract as a client to any contractor because they've given you a low price. Make sure you go through the details and you try to ask some questions. You go over them, you look at it, look at the details, and you try to see if actually the amount that they are putting there, they can be able to actually do the job. And as an engineer too, or as a contractor, you also have to be truthful. Make sure that you put prices that are workable. Now, in some cases, there are some contractors that actually, when they put this price, they just want the job, and what they are doing is they might have other jobs which they can use to balance this job up, in the sense that if in case at the end of the day they are still working well and they see that maybe it's not going, they might maybe push in some money here from other jobs. Or let's say in case of a road project, doing a road project, and you know that maybe there's going to be a lot of deforestation, you can harvest the timber from there, you know, and sell to make yourself some more money, or, you know, stuff like that. They have some contractors which are really truthful. They go for lower prices, but they know how they can balance up without affecting the quality of the job. So, well, that is just it. So I hope you have learned something today as a contractor and also as a client, so that you can know how to best go around and handle your bill of quantity. So this is the last video for the bill of quantity, and if you have any questions, you can ask us. You can contact us privately even, and you ask your questions. If you like us to continue producing videos like this, always make sure you like, share, and also follow all our social media handles in order to always keep on receiving this type of videos. Thank you, and see you in the next tutorial.